and then lift it off its pin there. So as Mario's preparing the inside of the frame here, what we're doing is we're blind taping. So we're taping to the window before we actually install it. This way you don't see any of that tape on the reveal. He's using the smallest strip here as the blind tape, and then he's folding back the larger strip so that we can actually tape this to our air barrier once the window is put in place. You can see here that he's making these bunny ears, and that's really important in the corners so that we have continuous air tightness. So what you're doing is you're overlapping 2 times what the rough opening here is, so we have about a 1/4 inch around on all sides. He's making about a 1/2 inch bunny ear. So here we go, going over our tape spot, the press fit tool. Ready to flip it?
Yep.
I was making sure that the surface is clean and dust free before he applies any of the tape. The tape will stick to the dust and not to the surface. So a nice little trick of connecting the tape seamlessly is removing the 2 release strips on the corner here and attaching that front piece to that. So now we have one continuous airtight seal around the entire window. Now Mario's applying some standard painter's tape. We make sure that our side that hasn't been released yet is going to be flush on the inside, so when we install the window we'll have access to this. And then this release strip will be pulled off and attached to our air barrier. So now as we're infilling that brick cavity between the frame, we're using the Havelock sheep's wool, all natural sheep's wool from the byproduct of the wool industry over in New Zealand. It's produced in California. Has a little bit of borates added to it to make it fire resistant. It's a really nice material. This is a good replacement for the spray foam that you would typically use around the windows. This material won't increase the chances of any moisture to build up between the frame and the brick. That foam would be hydrophobic and would trap some of that moisture and increase rot. So now we're using a vapor open material, a sustainable material, and a really nice material to work with. Coming from California and using here in Brooklyn, we're very excited to have this around our windows. So now that the window is put into place here, Mario's making sure that everything is sitting exactly where it wants to on the sill. So we actually have to be a certain depth specific for landmarked. So we need to be about 4.5 inches back from the brick face. We're going to use these shims to make sure that everything is nice and line. And then we're going to actually screw through the frame in this case. So there's a couple different ways to install these. Today we'll be screwing directly through the frame, back to our blocking, that plywood buck, and then we're going to actually cap those screw tops with a small white cap so that you don't see anything on the inside. Once the window's put in place, we have the insulation around our frame. Mario's taking off the blue painter's tape and getting ready to release that final release strips on the Profil and tie that back so we have a nice airtight seam all the way around the window. As he's pulling the release strip away, he's making sure that it's getting fully adhered directly to the rough opening. You can see he can do this continuously in one motion, making sure that you have a continuous seal here. The beautiful part of that blind taping method is, as you can see, there's no face taping on the window frame, so whatever our finish is, we can really come up right to the edge of this window and you won't see any of the tape.